Have you faced a situation where someone from your sales team left the company and you are left with this ambiguous set of leads and you have no idea if any one of them are warm, extremely cold, don't ever call me again, or just about to close? So we're going to make logging interactions and logging calls so easy for everyone so that there's never going to be another excuse why the calls are not going to be logged. Hi, I'm Cherry Yang, founder of AirOps Consulting. We're a full-service Airtable database and automation consulting company. We've helped many of our clients, whether they were in sales or marketing or operations, to be able to achieve their goals and really enable them with the right systems that are really customized. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is head to the interactions table and create a form with all the fields we just created from our last video. With my forms, I like to make sure everything is mandatory because these are all very essential fields for me. And if you don't need all of the fields, either you can remove them or you can make them not mandatory. It's completely up to you. The second step is to create a button field. So go back into your contacts table under the interactions view. We're going to add a new field. You can call it log interactions, add interactions, log a call, whatever you want it to be. And I'm going to choose green for all of the dollars you're going to bring in. And the action is going to be open up a URL. For now, we can just put a placeholder URL. You can type in some text and hit save. And don't forget the quotation marks. At this point, our button looks nice. It doesn't really do anything. So what we're going to do is grab the URL of the form. And you can find a URL of the form by going to that form view and click Share Form. After you grab that URL, go ahead and replace the URL in the Log Interactions button. At this point, we've got a URL that actually works. Go ahead and click on that button, which will open up the URL, and you'll see all of the form fields that your salesperson needs to fill in. But I already know what your salesperson is going to say. Hey, I've got too many calls to make and I don't have the time to fill in 5 different fields of information. Totally fair. I wouldn't want them to be manually entering data either. So we're going to pre-fill some of this information for them. The first field we want to pre-fill is the date. I always like to pre-fill this field based on today's date. In order to do that, we need a helper field. So go back into your contacts table and add a field called today's date. This is a very simple formula. All we're going to say is today, open bracket and close bracket. With the formatting, I don't particularly need the time field, so I'm going to unhighlight that and save it. Next, we're going to update the formula within our button. And all we're going to add for now is a question mark at the end of the URL, but before the closing quotation mark, to say question mark prefill underscore the date, which is the field on our form, equals, and we'll have our closing quotation, an ampersand, and the field for today's date. This is going to allow the date to fill in to the date in the form field. Once you click save, go ahead and click on the button again, and you'll see that the date is getting automatically filled into the date field. Now, writing this formula can be a little bit cumbersome and it's hard to read. So if you're going to manually write out the formula, I'd really recommend you write it first in a Word document or Excel or a text editor. If you have access to one, it's just going to make it so much simpler to see. Once you've already written the formula in the text editor, then go ahead and paste it into the button field. However, if you don't want to put in all the work, or you just have way too many fields you want to pre-fill, whether it's on this form or another form, I actually have a very neat trick for you. What I built was a pre-fill form template in Excel. All you have to do is first put in the URL of the form itself. The next step will be to fill in the fields that you want pre-filled. So in this case, we want to pre-fill 3 different fields, and they are date, contacts, and rep. The final step is to fill in the fields with data, and these are the fields that house our data in Airtable. So in this case, it's going to be today's date, which is the column we just created, the full name, which is the first column in our contacts table, and the rep, which is the sales rep assigned to that contact. This template is super easy to use. It's just a 3-step process. Of course, I wouldn't be showing you this template if I wasn't planning on sharing it with you. You can go ahead and visit my website at airopsconsulting.org and fill in the form in the resources section to gain access to this template. Now I'm going to highlight the URL in green and copy and paste it into my button column. Once you've updated the URL formula, you can go ahead and open the form again by clicking on the button. This time you should see that all 3 of the fields we wanted pre-filled are indeed filled in. So that would be the date, contact, and the rep. It's my absolute favorite thing to be able to test something I built and it works. So let's go ahead and click on that button to add another note. And we're going to simply fill in the type of interaction it was and add in the note. After we log that interaction, we can see that Airtable will automatically update all the information. So the most recent interaction date for John will become July 31st, and his most recent interaction note will also update. Awesome work for setting up the interactions. This is coming along very nicely. And once again, if you need additional help or need specific customizations, we're more than happy to help you. You can reach out to us by visiting our website at airopsconsulting.org. Thanks so much, and please subscribe and like the video.